What's become of us, huh? This town needs to take a long look in the mirror.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 worst TV shows of 2022.
Turns out, the automatic sensor overrides inside the lab didn't work. They still don't.
For this list, we'll be looking at the biggest flops and disappointments that premiered on television in 2022. Did we miss any series that were total stinkers? Let us know what your least favorite show of the year was in the comments. Number 10. Echoes. Feel free to strap in for this roller coaster of a series. It just won't be any fun.
It's fun. It's going to be fun. Do you trust me?
This Netflix release stars Michelle Monaghan, who plays a set of identical twins, Gina and Lenny, that switch lives as kids. The concept seems fairly interesting, but the plot falls short.
Wait! Gina!
With an abundance of over-the-top twists, turns, and cliffhangers, Echoes fails to mine its genuinely unique premise, wasting Monaghan's talents in the process. Despite its low ratings and poor reviews, it was still the streaming service's #1 series for some time following its premiere.
So if it was Gina, she's been a big help.
Yeah, big help. And it would also mean that she probably has more information than she is sharing.
Is it so bad it's good? That's for you to decide. Number 9. The Ultimatum. Marry or move on. Just when you thought reality dating shows couldn't get more heinous, Nick and Vanessa Lachey come to the rescue.
I said then.
I think that's what put the nail in the
doing
coffin.
the dance.
Yeah.
In this series, 6 couples arrive with a core issue in their relationship. They are unsure of whether or not they should get married. And everyone knows that the only way to solve that issue is in front of millions of Netflix subscribers, right?
You're saying if you're not ready to put a ring on my finger, I'm leaving. But you're supposed to be the worried one?
It's all so wrong. These couples are given the opportunity to date the other contestants freely before deciding if they want to commit to their actual partner. As you can imagine, the result is an absolute disaster. So if you need a show that will make you lose all hope in humanity, this is the one for you.
You have the same bullshit-ass excuse as every other guy, so I'm just gonna have to say next.
Number 8. Blockbuster.
I don't love the pattern that's starting to emerge.
This show surely does not live up to its title. It has a fantastic cast. A sitcom featuring Randall Park, Melissa Fumero, and JB Smoove should be hysterical. And yet, it isn't.
Hard pass. This sounds like a full-on snooze fest.
Following the happenings of the last remaining Blockbuster, the show intends to tap into our nostalgia for the fallen video store. But simply taking place inside of a cultural memory doesn't justify the awkward writing and lack of awareness.
A rack dedicated to the trilogies where the middle one is the best one, like National Treasure.
There are only 2 National Treasure movies.
Wicker Man is the 3rd National Treasure.
For a series centered around the impact of the death of physical media, this issue never seems to be the larger conversation. Also, the irony of Blockbuster streaming on Netflix isn't even really addressed, which is a major missed opportunity.
You're right.
Not really. Turns out being the Blockbuster daddy sucks.
Still not loving that nickname.
Number 7. Stuck. No, we don't mean in the figurative sense.
How long's this been stuck in there?
So, it been hurting for about a week or 2.
This TLC medical series is about everyday folks who ended up with stuff stuck up themselves, and the fearless souls who dare to treat them. It's seriously hard to sit through, and not just because it's super gross.
And when you take that blood supply away, the cartilage can die and end up with a huge crusty hole in your nose.
You might just find that while these patients are having foreign objects removed from their bodies, you're losing something too, your brain cells. But hey, we're certainly not passing any judgment. Sometimes a mindless watch is exactly what the doctor ordered. Well, maybe not these doctors. They probably ordered a batch of human whole-sized telescopes.
What we are now thinking is that this is either the appendix or something going on with the ovary.
Number 6. The Terminal List.
Moving.
Whether or not you're a fan of Chris Pratt, aka this show's leading man, most people agree that the Terminal List is far from a success.
Listen, I won't charge you. I'll just, it all goes away.
Oh, it just goes away?
Yes.
Pratt plays James Reese, a Navy SEAL with a score to settle. For an action thriller series, the events of the plot are relatively dull. Sure, there's fights and raids and such, they just aren't particularly interesting or gripping. There's also a core hollowness to the story, with any relevant themes being diluted by the fact that nearly every force Reese seems to encounter is an enemy. If you're at all interested, maybe try reading the book it was based on instead. Number 5. God's Favorite Idiot.
Want to apologize. I'm very sorry. I don't know why the song keeps playing.
It's a shame to see the married comedy duo Ben Falcone and Melissa McCarthy flop so hard. This is particularly true of McCarthy, whose past performances have made her a bona fide legend in her field. But unfortunately, this show just gives a whole lot of nothing.
So just that torture is dragged out. Almost forever, it feels like. That's what it makes me think of.
Falcone plays an IT man who becomes linked to God after a lightning strike. For what is supposed to be a comedy, the jokes fall flat. The characters are one-dimensional and nearly impossible to root for. Overall, it's not worth the binge watch. There's just so many other things you could spend your time doing.
Also, Harry Styles has a third nipple. I don't know if that's relevant.
I don't know.
Number 4. The Good Dish. Some things clearly don't run in the family.
Welcome to The Good Dish. It is your new go-to for how-to, where we elevate everyday foods and put new twists on what you crave the most.
After the syndicated series The Dr. Oz Show was taken off air due to the star's jaunt in politics, Oz's daughter Daphne took over the time slot with this daytime cooking and lifestyle show. But it quickly became apparent that Daphne Oz didn't have the television chops to fill the shoes of her predecessor.
And they know it's okay to make a mess, and sometimes it goes a little awry, and sometimes mommy forgets the pancakes are on, they burn, and we have to wait for another batch.
The Good Dish is a bland, run-of-the-mill series that lacks the big personality needed to keep it fresh. It ran for one season, but has already been canceled. Let's just say this turn of events isn't exactly surprising.
We really need the fork. I don't think so.
Oh, right. Oh, okay, we're going.
Number 3. Resident Evil. Television adaptations from different forms of media are always either a hit or a miss. And this one's a miss.
I can fix it. I'll find a way.
This isn't the first time the video game Resident Evil has been brought to the screen. So with so much content and such a huge pre-existing fan base, expectations were through the roof. But Netflix did not meet them whatsoever.
Okay, cool.
It's not.
The show follows two timelines, one in 2022 and the other in 2036. Both center around the dangers of a fictional bioweapon dubbed T-Virus, but neither plotline features the zombies that carry it prominently enough. This isn't only a big disappointment for lovers of the franchise, it also results in a pretty boring show.
Day 167 of observation. Pack 2426 still shows no sign of leadership structure or higher brain function.
Number 2. Fairview.
What do you say, Kelly? Ready to throw the most banging, negligent homicide this town's ever seen? Hey, heads up! I already told Breckman the party was happening.
This adult animation Comedy Central show should have been a recipe for success, but it turned out to be a royal flush.
Is he gonna be okay?
Depends. Is he a fighter?
Absolutely.
It doesn't matter. I got 50 COVID patients and I've started treating them in the refrigerated truck just to cut out the transfer paperwork.
With late-night Stephen Colbert as one of the executive producers, the network likely had hopes for this series to be the next South Park. But Fairview tries way too hard to be edgy and topical, while lacking the genuine satirical value that would make it funny. Not even their absurd abundance of poop jokes can save them. Plus, the animation style looks like an online role-playing game from the early days of the internet.
What's become of us, huh? This town needs to take a long look in the mirror.
We turned this town into monsters, all because we hate change, and now we can't turn them back.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Adults adopting adults. All we can say is, yikes.
The real reason that Vicky and Joe are in our lives is because they're gonna adopt me. It's called an adult adoption.
The network A&E had initially intended for this series to have a 10-episode season, but it only took 3 for it to get the axe and be taken off air and streaming.
I'm prepared for her to flip out and like lose her.
If she flips out, I might leave the room.
The show is all about grown people looking to be legally adopted into families, and it quickly veered into some murky waters. Some of these arrangements were blatantly problematic and predatory, such as 59-year-old Danny Huff's obvious attraction to his new daughter, 20-year-old Ileana. And the others, while not as overtly inappropriate, were still painful to witness.
It's a little bit awkward only because, knowing that she doesn't know stuff, so.
It's bad enough that these awful situations are happening in the first place. The last thing they need is an audience.
I did apologize to my wife, and I continue to pay that price every day.